Hey guys, it is Carl Brown here for GuitarLessons365.com. Have a great one from Metallica today. We're going to learn how to play Until It Sleeps in its entirety. So we're going to go through all the rhythm parts, both James and Kirk's, and the solo as well. So before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell, of course, so you'll know when I release a new video or any of that good stuff. And please check out my Guitar Academy. You'll see the link in the description. I'm offering, a 7-day free trial right now. You get complete access to all my guitar courses as a member. Those courses go from complete beginner courses to more advanced courses in, technique, improvisation, ear training, guitar tone, everything. So please go and check it out. You got a free trial, no risk to you. So let's jump into it real quick. We are in E flat tuning. So every string tuned down a half step. I'll throw those notes in the description. And then we have this intro here, which sounds like this. All right, so this is based around an A minor chord. So let's hold a standard A minor chord. You're going to pick the A and the D string. And then we have this little melody on top that we let these bottom notes sustain. And then we play the open high E string. That's the first melody note. And then the third fret there on the B string. Then the first fret there on the B. Then the open B. So it just goes down the scale. And then over to the G string. You're going to pick that note that you're already at, the second fret, and then the open G. So we have this. So both James and Kirk do this part, but they have this ending chord which is different for each one of them. So I believe, at least live, James, when he plays this part, he ends it with just going back to the standard A minor chord and strumming across it. You do a little vibrato bar one there as well. And Kirk, what he does is he plays just a different inversion of the A minor chord. So that is the barring at the 5th fret across the high E, B, and the G. And then the 7th fret there on the D string and the open A with it. So his part will sound like this. If you only have one guitarist in the band or whatever, I recommend playing that higher one. Sounds better. But 2 guitarists, you can just split it. All right, so we do that a couple times. Then after that little figure here, instead of ending with the chord, it just jumps into the chorus, which has 2 distinct parts to it. Now first I'll play Kirk's rhythm part here. It's a little bit more simplified. It looks like this. All right, so that's going to start here with this low G power chord. And then move up to an A power chord at the 5th fret. Hit it a couple times. Then you play basically, you move the notes, the 7 on the A and the D down to the 5th fret on the A and the D, while still holding that A on the low E string. So we have this. So kind of one of those moves. So you bring back those 7s. And then it goes to a D power chord with A in the bass. So you're basically just going to do that with 5th fret on the A and the low E together with the 7th fret there on the D. So it's a D power chord, but it makes it sound like an octave lower than it really is. And then we go to this F chord with the A and the bass, which you're just basically going to do it by, you're still holding this one chord that we're now playing, and we're going to add the 8th fret there on the A string. So we have this. And then to start over, go back and grab that G power chord and then come back to start over. All right, later on, at the very end of the track, when they have kind of an extended chorus, James is going to come in and play that riff with him as well. But for the rest of the song, James's rhythm part looks like this for the chorus. So this. All right, so that's going to start with kind of the same hits on the G to the open A string, and then we start the actual riff. So that's going to be the 7th fret there on the D string, 5th fret there on the G. Then 7 on both the D and the G, and then back to the 5-7. I see that in between hitting these little those little double stops, I'm gonna be going back and hitting the open A a little bit too. Then it goes down to the 5th fret on the D string, 4th fret on the G. Then we go 5th fret on both strings. So we go. Then what we're going to do is take this and move this down, basically. So we have 3rd fret there on the D, 2nd fret on the G. And you hit that a couple times, the first one. The 3 and the 2, and then 3 on both strings, and then back to the 3 and the 2. So this. And then start over. Now just in this first chorus here, you're playing it through 4 times, and then at this part, the 4th time through, when he does that 4 to 5 there on the G, he's going to move up here to the 10th fret on the D, 9th on the G, and then play the 10 on the G, back to the 9, back to the 10. So you're still always hitting the 10 on the D with it. So you're still hitting double stops there, or dyads, whatever you want to call them. So it is. All right, so that is both parts of the chorus there. And then we go back to this little transition riff, which I call it a transition riff. It's pretty much like the verse riff that we started the song with, but a little ending they put on it. So it looks like this. Now, these little ending chords that they put on it, they vary depending on, there's a couple times this transition riff happens. They're a little bit different later on in the song. But so we start with that same riff. So, but before they play it again, they do this little 3-note. or really kind of a two note. They go 0, 3 on the low E string, and then they get to the open A string, and then it starts the riff again. So we have this. 0, 3. And then when we get to that point in the melody, the second time through here doing the transition riff, so that when the note gets to in the melody gets to that first fret on the B string, we jump down and do this. So that's going to be a G chord here. So what we're going to start here, he plays it like this, but on the recording, you don't hear the top strings anyway. So we really don't need to play the full chord, even though you might see him finger it like that live. James at least. So we're basically playing the third fret on the low E string, and then you're going to strum across the A, D, and the G. The A string is going to be held at the second fret, and then the D and the G are going to be open. So just like that. Hit the low string, then strum those 3 strings, and then what they do, and this is the chord that's a little bit different the second time. The first time you hear it, he then just goes to the F and the bass, so the first fret on the low E string. And then the strings he's going to hit there are going to be the open D and the open G. So. And then he ends it with an A minor there. And Kirk will end it with his A minor instead. All right, so from there we get back to the verse. The only difference in this verse is the hits of the A minor that Kirk is doing up high, he kind of anticipates it a little bit. So you can see like a couple of hits. So just the timing of it, it's just not one big strum. So James would strum his the same. But Kirk is kind of anticipating that. So something a little bit like that. So it's just a little variation that they're doing. And then they jump back into the chorus again. Now the chorus is the same thing pretty much, except there's an extra fill in there. It's you can kind of do it around James's part. So let's do this. So instead of going down here, it's really just kind of like a third guitar added. So it's just a little. So if you have a third guitarist, you can do it. Otherwise, I think it's better just to kind of keep going with the riff. But so it's just that's that little fill you'll see there. So it's a bend at the 7th fret, and then hit 7 without the bend, and then there's a quick little hammer pull from 5 to 7 back to 5 on the G, and then again. So that's kind of where it's at in the chorus. And then coming out of that chorus, though, we go into the bridge, which is probably my favorite part of the track. So I'll play James's part first, and then we'll take a look at Kirk's octaves that he does. So it looks like this. All right, so we're going to start here with this E power chord. So open low E, the 7th fret on the A, and then 9th fret on the D and the G. Slide that down, and then we go into. So it starts similar to the verse, but we're on different strings. We have this 7th fret on the A string and 5th fret there on the D. Then it goes to the 7th on the both the A and the D. Then back to the 7 on the D. So let's start with that. And like I did on the verse, I keep going back and hitting that low E, kind of filling in the space. Then we get to this chord, which is the 5th fret there on the A and the 4th fret there on the D. From there, we're just going to move that note on the A string, the 5th fret, up to the 6th. And then we jump back to that E power chord, hit it twice and slide it down. So it's kind of like the ending and the beginning, that chord there. So we have this. So the last time through, look at that. So after this, instead of doing this, after this part, it goes. Just that 3 on the low E, the 4. You can lean into it, open it with an open E real quick, and then 3, 4, and then back to the verse. We can hold an A power chord and the verse kind of comes in over it or whatever. Or that it's really not the verse, it's the transition riff again. So anyway, so we have that's James's section part for the bridge. And then we have Kirk's, which is looks like this. All right, so it kind of does that, repeats it 4 times. So it's kind of like the start of his part is this octave that he hits at the 7th fret. So an octave there, you're playing the 7th fret on the A, and then the 9th fret on the G, and you're muting that note in the middle. So you just have these 2 notes, the 2 E's ringing. So you hit that octave, and then he jumps up here and starts kind of the melody, which is, I'm gonna call out the fret. We're keeping that same octave shape on the exact same strings. So I'm gonna be calling out the fret that the index finger's at, so you know where to move it at. So we have move up to the 14th fret, then 12. So 14, 12, 10, 9. Then jump down to 6. And then it's kind of hard to hear on the recording because it's really low in the mix of this part, and the vocal does this in the melody. But I think it sounds pretty good doing it along with the vocal melody. Whether that's actually going on the guitar or not is debatable from the recording, but we have this little thing. So I'm going to do it because it sounds good, and you can kind of hear like the guitar is probably doing it, but it's so low in the mix I can't be sure. And I know the vocals are doing it, so it sounds good, so it makes sense to do it too. So so after that 6, when James is doing that, it's just, you go back to the 7th fret, slide up to 9, and back down to 7. So the whole part is this. Let it ring, and then hit it again to start it over. All right, so that's Kirk's octaves during the bridge section. Then we get back to the transition riff again, which is like the verse. And I said it's a little bit different the second time through. It's just that one chord that's different though. So we have this. course, Kirk is grabbing the high chord. So same thing, but when we did this before, now it's the same G chord though, but this second chord, they're going to be playing an F power chord. So we had this F here, and then the 3rd fret there on the A. So we're actually playing the A string here on this F chord, and then the open D and open G with it. So you pick the low F, and then the other 3 strings. So we have this. Little touch they add to it. And then it goes to an A minor, or that A minor if you're Kirk. All right, so that's the only difference there. Now we have the same verse. But while we're doing this verse right here, you'll see Kirk start saying up here. Kind of starts just slightly arpeggiating that chord he's holding up here. So you'll hear that kind of the second half of that verse. So that's what's going on there, and then that kind of continues too. But I wanted to, if you heard that, I wanted you to know what it is. If you wanted to add that, kind of just be random with it. Just kind of, he's just adding kind of texture to it a little bit. All right, and then out of that we go back to the same chorus. Both parts are the same, and into the bridge section again. So they work together really well. And then we get to the solo. So, so the second time you hear that bridge riff, coming out of that we have the solo. Now the solo rhythm I'll do first. It's really simple. It sounds like this. It's on clean guitar. And it's going to start with just some sustained A minor chords. All right, so pretty simple. So we start with just that A minor. All right, so when it gets to that part, in the solo, which we'll cover in a second, he starts arpeggiating chords and goes to a C, really based off a C major. So that's the open A, 2nd fret, and then 3rd fret on the A string. When you get to that 3rd fret, just go ahead and grab a C chord. So, because then you're going to play the 2nd fret there on the D, open high E string, and then we do that same melody that we did over the A minor chord. Which means now open high E, 3rd fret on the B, 1st fret on the B, and then the open B. Let that sustain. And then we're going to pick across this chord again. And that is just picking the A and the D, and start doing that melody again. But when you get down to the 1st fret on the B string, hold that and then hit that note again with the open high E. So, then we pick across it again and let it go all the way down to the open B. And then end the solo rhythm with just an A minor chord. All right, so now from that C chord in the solo, it sounds like this. You go all the way down to the open B. First time, and then the second time, stop at the 1st fret, hit it again with the open high E. Then the 3rd time, all the way down to open B, and then end it with an A minor chord. All right, now let's take a look at the solo real quick. The solo's got kind of a wah effect going on with it the entire time as well. It's kind of just, he's not actually riding the wah pedal the entire time. He's using it kind of as a filter a lot, but sometimes he'll kind of accentuate it with the actually, rocking the wah back and forth. So we have this right here. Sounds like this. All right, so I'll turn that wah off real quick for you, so it doesn't annoy you while we're doing the solo. But we're gonna start here at the 10th fret on the B string, and then the first phrase, I'll just play it. So I'll stop there. So we start with the 10th fret on the B with the open high E string ringing as well. So when you're letting that high E string ring and you're playing the melody note on the B string, which is where you then move it up to the 12th fret. While still, so the high E is going to be going with it the whole time, but the melody on the B, so it's going to be 10 to 12, back down to 10, and then 13, 10, 12. I mean, sorry, 13, 12, 10. All right, so we have this. 10, 12, 10, 13, 12, 10. You're going to hit that just once when you get there, because you got to jump up here and grab the 17th fret across the B and the high E together. So, hit that a couple times, and then it goes into this. So after you play those double stops in the 17th fret a couple times, you do these unison bends. So it's going to be the 17th fret on the high E, 20th fret there on the B. So you pick those together and then bend up the note on the B string, the 20th fret up a whole step to match the note on the high E string a couple times, and then we do. So that's playing the double stops at the 17 again. Slide it down to 15 and then go back to the 17s. I like to just switch fingers there. So after you play that, you play the 17 again, slide it down to 15, the double stops, and then the double stop at the 12th fret there across the B and the high E. Pick that a couple times, slide up to 15, and then back down to 12. So we have this. So all together with that first phrase. All right, now the second time through it's similar, but a little bit different. So we have this. So what's different is that opening part with the melody on the B string. So he does this. Sounds like he does this 10th fret there on the B string with the open high E. And you could just do it after that with the high E by itself, but it sounds like a little bit bigger than that, so I think he shifts down, at least on the recording, to the 5th fret there on the B string and plays the unison of the high E with it. So and then back to the 10th fret. And then to that 13, 12, 10, and then into the... that same little ending right there. All right, and then we get to this next section, looks like this. So that's the first phrase. So you play the 7th fret on the D string a few times. Then played 5, 7, 9 on the G. Then slide into the 14 on the G. So we have this. All right, now we're pretty much going to do the same thing, except we're going to slide into the 12 instead of the 14. All right, and this last run through it is a little bit longer. All right, so it starts the same. 5, 7, 9. And when you get here to this 9, what I want you to do is now shift positions and go up to the 12th position. So now we're going to play just a series of notes going up the scale. So 12, 14 on the G, 12, 15 on the B, and then 12, 14, 15 on the high E string to the 17th fret. You can play it first without the bend and then bend it a few times. So we have this. All right, now from there, we get to the chorus again, but it's an extended chorus. So basically what that means is we're going to still be doing the same kind of things at the riffs that Kirk is doing. While James is doing this. So we do that kind of with the whole length of the chorus, kind of the usual chorus. But then they start repeating the chorus again. And when they do that, James doesn't do his little kind of double stop riff anymore. He just joins Kirk with that lower. So they both do that same riff right there. So it just kind of thickens it up a little bit because the kind of climactic chorus at the end of the track. And then leaving that, we're just back into the kind of little clean riffs. That kind of thing where they keep kind of doing those a little bit at the end of the track, but nothing that you haven't already covered before. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a great song off of Load, and you know, I haven't covered a lot of Load, so this is a good one to do, and it's been requested a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.